Knoxville, Tennessee. Well, how do you look for real estate in 2023? I am Caroline Badgett with the Agents Who Care at Coldwell Banker, and I want to give you the numbers. First of all, please stay away from headlines, especially those on national news. Real estate is hyper local, so make sure your sources are local. Looking at home sales, the number of sales, we do forecast that to come down. We don't have the total number for 2022, but it was a little bit less than the previous 2 years. Still a robust market. But look at what we are projecting compared to 2017. That was a really good, healthy market. So we are still looking really strong here in Knoxville. Prices, we all think prices are going to go lower, right? We're waiting as a buyer for those prices to drop. I'm going to tell you, it's not forecasted to happen. Now, you look at this graph at first like, oh my goodness, that looks low. Well, that's appreciation. And yes, the last couple of years, we've had some crazy appreciation, but we are still going upward about 3 to 5%. So that's still really good. So I don't think you're going to see those prices drop. If you're saying, but I see price reductions, you do in a lot of cases, but that's because sellers started off too high. But if you compare price closed, you're not seeing a drop on that. Interest rates have gone up and they are probably going to stay there for a little bit. But even with that, even with the number of homes being sold coming down, we are still forecasted here in Knoxville to appreciate 3 to 5%. A lot of that has to do with inventory. So we have had a low inventory. You've heard that, and we're going to continue to hear that for about a decade. It's going to take us about a decade to continue to build homes before we can catch up to where we really need to be. So you're going to see these numbers on the left, and that is the 0, 5, 10, 15. That is number of months. Then that top lighter blue is people who are moving up in a house. And then that darker blue on the bottom are the entry level, those first-time home buyers. And so in a balanced market in this industry, we would say if you have 6 months of inventory, if nothing else came on the market and you sold everything you had and it took 6 months, you're a balanced market. I'm going to say we're still balanced in that we are not a buyer market. We are not a seller's market. It feels like we're a little bit more of a buyer market because from where we just came out of. Buyers have a little bit more leverage. They might have a few more days to look. They might be able to negotiate price, probably not going to be in as many multiple offers, and might even be able to negotiate some repairs, going back to a normal market. But statistically speaking, it is still a seller's market. So we are well below in both of those categories, below the 6 months mark. So again, it's going to take about a decade for us to recoup the inventory that we need here in Knoxville. So that's also going to really sustain us. So the question I've heard for quite a while is, are we in a housing bubble? Are we going to crash like we did in 2008? Again, national headlines, this makes a great story. I'm going to tell you no, and this is the reason why. So let's go back in history. 1980. We look at that top blue line, that lighter one around that 15%, that is homeowner equity, okay? Then the darker line that's around that 10% is how much homeowners had in mortgage debt. So that was good. That was healthy. They had more equity than they had debt. Then people got a little crazy in the early 2000s. This is what set us up for a major crash. We had very low equity. You see those numbers flip-flopping, and we had a lot of debt. And risky debt too. Then feds came in and said, nope, lenders, you can't do this. We came back to a healthy market and a healthy economy where we have more equity and less debt. On average, homeowners have 70% home equity in their homes. So that's great. So someone may get forced to have to sell if they lose their job, but they probably have enough equity in their home that they aren't going to get foreclosed on. Not always the case, but we see that a lot more than we did back in the crash where they were foreclosing. So looking at that risk. So in the early 2000s, lenders were just lending to anybody and everybody and some pretty high risk. That's where you saw the correction in 2008, and it has continued, and we still have that right now. So we look at the comparison from the Great Recession to today, looser credit standards, they tightened down, and those Those our standards are still tight now. We had a low relative on debt. We had low equity versus debt. We have high equity now. A low labor market. Remember back then, I mean, people were losing their jobs. It was not a good economy then. And so now we have strong labor markets. We have, we don't have the leverage that we did then. You saw a lot of people leveraging their primary homes. You don't see that now. And also delinquency rates, you aren't seeing that now either. And adjustable mortgages, you aren't seeing that either. So you compile all of those together. That is what just created that perfect storm for the crash. And you don't have those things. And that's nationally. Okay. So let's jump back to Knoxville. Knoxville is still growing. So we've had this great migration for the last couple of years. But even before that, we still had people moving to Knoxville. Why? Well, if you live here, you know why. It's a great place to live. We have great climate. Okay, I laugh at this water supply because it's not an issue here, but it is in some parts, right? And those people are moving here. We don't have a state income tax, relatively low cost of living. And we still have companies that are moving here. So Amazon has 2 large buildings that they have not even staffed yet, and they are going to be. So that's more people coming. Smith & Wesson is here, but they have not finished their facility. That's going to bring more people. UT is expanding, and there's so many more places too. But that's just to name a few. All right, so prices are going up. Rent is going up too. So be careful when you look at graphs. Are rent prices going up as quickly? No, but they are still going up about 4%. So if you are a renter and you are thinking, I may want to wait, well, prices aren't coming down and rent isn't either. Occupancy rate are still really healthy. You look at, they were almost 100% in some cases. There are waiting lists. We're still projected that to be at 96%. So Knoxville is still one of the top cities to move to, and we are still seeing people come. So if you have any real estate needs, any questions, if you're thinking, I may want to buy or sell, give us a call. You can go to our website, theagentswhocare.com. You can QR code us. You can give us a call. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to talk to you and help you out. Thanks so much for watching. Also, if you are looking at this on YouTube, please subscribe. That way you get videos of our listings as soon as they come on the market and any other real estate news. We would love for you to follow us, and we'd love to be your trusted realtor advisor. Thanks so much. Bye.